Welcome to the Pool Nation podcast, where it's all pool talk. And we ain't talking about netting and jetting or splashing and dashing. We're talking about becoming a nation of pool pros. We talk about the latest products, trends, and training in the pool industry. Now let's welcome your host, with over a decade of industry insider experience and still the reigning champion of Marco Polo, Edgar De Jesus, and his co-host, John JJ Flawless, the fastest netter in the West, and Zach the Pool Boy Nicholas.
Welcome, everyone, to the Pool Nation Live podcast. I am your host, Edgar De Jesus, and yes, I am the reigning champion of Marco Polo, along with John JJ Flawless, the fastest netter in the West, and the famous Zach, the Pool Boy Nicholas. Today, we have a special podcast for you guys, so stay tuned. Can't believe it is already January 11th. We're almost 2 weeks into the year, and time is just absolutely flying by. But you know what? It's kind of time to get back to the hustle. It's time to get back focused and doing what we need to do, right? So for a lot of you pool pros that were out there and were able to have a little bit of time off between Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year, that's all behind us. And now it's time to do what we normally do. And that is to focus and get ready to get our grind on, because 2 months from now, we'll be kicking right back into season. But anyways, John is just back from vacation. Zach is just getting over his cold that he had going on. And I just came back from the BioGuard conference, and that was out in Tulum, Mexico with BioLab. And, you know, it's a conference that is for retailers. And, you know, I always tell Zach and John that those are our brothers and sisters that we don't get to play with much. And these are people that are, some of them are fourth generation pool pros that, you know, the store has been passed down to them. And it's really interesting to talk to them and talk to their side of the business. And a lot of them do service. A lot of them do repairs, especially those that are back east. They do a lot of openings, a lot of closing, things that we don't get to do all the time. They talk about the service side during the summertime and, you know, how they handle that, all the vinyl liners, all those things that we don't always get to play with. Yeah, it's pretty awesome to be able to connect with them, hear their stories, and, you know, really kind of connect with that side of the industry. When we talk retail, there is obviously a lot of the Leslie's, which is corporate and that kind of stuff. But then there is a lot of what we would call independent owners. And those are all those pool stores that are not Leslie's or Pinch a Penny or any of those. And they're all kind of family driven. And it's just interesting. We were doing a keynote speaker was talking, and they had everybody in the room. There's about 400 people in there, and they had everybody stand up. And you know, if you've been here from 1 to 5 years, and a couple people stood up, and have you been here from 10 to 20 years, and a couple of them stood up, and then they went to people that have been here for 30 to 40 years, and more than half of the room stood up. And that was just absolutely amazing to be able to see all these people, generation to generation. There were some people there that were passing it on to the next generation, and both families were there. So that was fun. But anyways, always fun times to get out there with them and celebrate and hear their stories. We are going to do a Pool Nation Spotlight issue just for them, just to be able to get their stories and talk a little bit about their struggles, because they're a little bit different than us with regards to the service side. But again, like I tell Zach and John, these are our brothers and sisters that are, you know, part of our family of the pool pros that we don't get to talk to, you know, that much. So anyways, next week, we will be back to normal next Wednesday. John and I will be back on Instagram Live. We're back on our schedule. Excited to do that for all the pool pros out there that have listened to the last 5 or 6 podcasts. We've really focused on numbers, figuring out your cost of service, all that kind of stuff. We're going to continue a little bit of that conversation. But next week, we do have Rocco Russo, which was the trainer of the year. He is from Fluidra. He's coming into Dallas. So we're excited to be able to host him out here, talk to him, and kind of hear his journey through and how he became a trainer and eventually how it went for him at the Pool Nation Award. So excited to do that. So for everybody that's listening to this, have a great week. Listen to the special episode. It's going to be the best of, but we will be back next Wednesday live. We're going back live again. We're doing all our normal stuff. Hope everybody's having a great week, and we'll be in touch. Stay tuned. Hey, today we're talking to Crystal Lengua, Rael,
Rael. Very cool. You got it so close that time. That was really close.
So, I knew I was going to botch that.
That's okay. That's okay.
I appreciate that. So
they're both not easy last names, let's be honest. I've thrown everyone in a loop for both of them.
So she is the VP of SMP and Ultra Lift out of Canada. We're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about her story, her journey. Mr. Flawless, Mr. Stressful Flawless this morning. How you doing? That was a kind of a little rough start.
It is. And I don't know if you can notice, I'm like,
see, and look at that spider. He's on mute.
No, I got him.
I'm not. Am I?
I got him.
No, you're good now. You're good now.
You're good now.
No, I'm on. Am I on mute?
No, you're good.
Your
Oh,
lip,
that was Spider. Spider put me on mute. Yeah.
your lips
I'm
were
like, oh
moving.
man, dude, don't get me going. Look, as you can see, I'm like trying to stand or sit as still as possible because I'm afraid like I'm going to get like something's going to fall through the roof or I'm going to get hit by lightning right now because nothing is working for me today. Literally, just a minute ago, I had to turn the video off real quick because this morning power went out. Didn't have much time to set up and get my lighting all done perfect. It looked like I was like my forehead was all shiny. So I went over there and did my little adjustment. And as I got up, I had these headphones that you got me that are behind my back and I didn't even notice. And they got caught in the chair, literally decapitated me as I almost got up. I'm so glad I had the video off because it would have been a blooper that would have gone down in the history books. And I'm glad I was muted because the words that came out of my mouth when I got up, hide the children because, I'm glad to be here. I feel great today. I got a good amount of sleep last night. We had a real productive week so far, going through the craziness of moving. So today we're going to be in the storage space. We're going to be doing a bunch of different things. We're going to start moving some boxes over to the new place. Not really looking forward to it, but we got to do what we got to do. Got a little bit of a busy schedule. I wish I was out in Texas with you guys. That's like my happy place when we go out there. It's like cool, calm, and collective. You're far away enough from reality because you just can't do anything when you're 2,000 miles away or whatever it may be. But I heard it went very well. Thank you so much for coming down, Crystal. I'm looking forward to watching the videos that you got to shoot. That's going to be pretty cool, interesting, and looking forward to having that content. And then, that's it. I'm ready to rock and roll. Let's go. Let's make it happen. Let's hear about Crystal's story.
Good morning.
Good
Crystal,
morning.
how are you?
I am great. Thank you so much for having me. This has been such an experience. I'm very grateful to be here. You see the podcast and you see Pullman University, but I have to say it has exceeded all expectation with the professionalism. And I honestly, this is a lifetime experience. So thank you very much, Pull Nation, for having me. And Texas as well, as you guys know, I'm Canadian. So it's always nice to, like you said, John, get a little breakout here. And everyone's so nice. Everyone says Canadians are nice, but I got to say, I'm starting to say y'all. I said y'all this morning. So I was like, okay.
She's ready to move to Texas. She's right in.
I belong.
Yeah.
So no, it's been phenomenal. So good morning to both of you and good morning, everybody.
Oh.
Thanks for tuning in.
I got in the truck this morning, John, and she's all, how y'all doing? And I'm like, damn, that quick?
I have cowboy boots on.
there you go.
So then she was like, can we go get some of that moon juice thing that you took me to the other day?
Moon juice.
And I'm like, hey, Summer Moon?
Yeah, it was a delicious coffee. We're going to plug you. Summer Moon is really good.
I know. We're going to have to do a sponsorship for Summer Moon. They better, so.
That's awesome. We would be absolutely honored to have you share some of your knowledge and teach some of our pool pros an art that not many really truly understand how to do.
You know what? I'm honored that you guys want me to do it because when it comes to marketing, the foundations are there and I feel like everyone knows it. But as you say, especially in our industry. But one thing that I was telling Edgar yesterday is I get so excited. It's my 24th year in this industry. I had a little bit of a hiatus in my younger years, but all in all, the pool and spa industry is the place to be, especially from a marketing standpoint. What we sell is relaxation and family and memories, and there are just so many different angles. And even when it comes to pool builders, when it comes to even the person that is delivering the hot tub, the content that you have with that crane going into a backyard or that fiberglass pool going in over a house, those are things like we have so much content capability that just to be able to tap into that. And when it boils down to marketing, if people don't know what products or services you have available, how are they going to buy it? And that boils down, John, you said it a bunch of times with branding and just starting off and knowing who you are as a foundation and a culture. But no, I would be absolutely ecstatic, especially now more than ever, especially if you are wearing multiple hats. The tools that are available to you, whether it be digital marketing, social media marketing, apps to help you design. There are so many things now more than ever to make a cohesive branding and marketing strategy that our industry can most certainly benefit from because we're selling more than just products and services. we're selling emotion and we're selling a
Selling
lifestyle.
ourselves. Yeah.
We're selling and our professionalism. So no, I would love to do that.
Absolutely. Let's go here because trust me, guys, when we talk about getting into the nitty gritty of these things, and that's what I was talking about to John yesterday, there's a lot more to marketing than just the buzzword and stuff like that. So let's get started. And by the way, I've got people, Michael over here is excited going, branding every piece of your business. Let's go.
Yes.
So let's get started. Crystal, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay. I've already mentioned, but I am a mom of 4. So I've got 3 boys and a little girl. I'm from Canada, smaller town, but close to Toronto. I'll just tell everyone it's Toronto, but I was born and raised in a very small town in New Brunswick. So an East Coaster. I think it's helped me move on with being frugal, with being financially conscious and humble, and just knowing that I just appreciate everything, especially coming from a town so small. I enjoy yoga. I read a lot. I'm a snowboarder, very active. I'm right now training for a half marathon, which is a big undertaking for me. So all in all, I'm just a small town girl living in this business world.
Awesome. So you're the VP of SMP and Ultra Lift. Can you tell us a little bit about the companies?
Yes. So SMP, Specialty Metal Products, they're 2 completely different businesses, business structures, but they go hand in hand. So SMP, Specialty Metal Products, was founded in 1995. It's a metal and alloys distribution company. So what that means is raw metals, bronze, brass. Our saying is hard to find or one of a kind, come to us. We stock certain things like aluminum extrusions and different things for drop and release and stock items. But all in all, it's not very fancy, just a good old raw metal company. How Ultralift came a part of that is we do sell the aluminum extrusions, where if you're familiar with hot tub covers, that is the metal part that is needed to manufacture those. And around 1999, a customer came to SMP and said, hey, could you make a hot tub cover lifter? And our president said, sure. And it just so happened that he came up with a patented idea of a sliding bracket. Ultralift was born. And now we manufacture a line of hot tub cover lifters. We've also got a new swim spa cover lifter for bifold dual end, so that we could cater to the aftermarket of swim spa users, just to get away from that rollaway. But we just really focus on cover lifters. It's like you do that one thing really well, as they say. And yeah, so that's where we are in the market for hot tub cover lifters.
So you're the VP for both of those, right? For SMP and Ultralift. And so you're not a VP of like marketing, you're a VP of the company. What is your day-to-day responsibilities?
So my day-to-day responsibilities change every single day, as I'm sure any owner or manager or anyone can say. It changes on a daily basis. And I am managing the 2 different companies. So they run 2 different business models, 2 different sales strategies, 2 different marketing, financials, accounts. So luckily, God blessed me with a lot of energy because I'm able to go back and forth through both of them. But I'd say on a day-to-day basis, I'm more making sure that the strategy stays in place, overseeing all the different departments, making sure that we're communicating, because marketing is still something that I'm very passionate about. So leading all of the marketing campaigns, just checking different departments, making sure that they're okay, that our R&D is okay, that our inventory is okay. It's a lot of reports. It's a lot of data analysis, which is something that I taught yesterday, of just going through the data, making sure I'm not much for micromanaging. I completely trust my team, but I'm also very much into communication. So just constantly just touching base. I'm in the office every single day as opposed to being hybrid, just so that I can be there. My day fluctuates and with the ebbs and flows of business. And it's actually quite exciting because I get to wear those different hats. So
that's crazy, John, right? Because it's 2 different companies and 2 different,
for sure.
Like one's metals, the other one's the lift covers, like 2 totally different strategies.
Right. And,
yeah.
You know, like you have to flip a switch, right? When you're walking in from one area to the next area with different.
100%. And you know what? I'm actually grateful for it because it keeps me fresh. Because I got to be honest, marketing raw metal pieces is not exactly the easiest thing to do. Here's this dirty piece of bronze. But you know what it does?
Yes.
Right? Like
mine's better.
You know, or trying to find the companies, lead generation, market research, all of those things are extremely important, especially in such a niche company. And then the pool and spa industry, I'm extremely active in. I sit on the Pool and Hot Tub Council of Canada. I'm on their executive board. So I'm very much involved in that as well. It's 2 completely different strategies of marketing, branding, sales, everything. And I'm grateful for it because it keeps me fresh, right?
But it falls again into like the one thing I always preach and I go, it doesn't matter what industry and or what company you're running or what you're doing. At the end of the day, we all have one thing in common, and that means that we work with people. Right. And two different companies, you might have two different objectives and two different approaches, but at the end of the day, it's tailoring and talking and speaking and dealing and taking care of people in some way.
The foundations are the same. Like human foundations are the same. Everyone wants to feel heard and valued, and everyone wants to be respected. And when it comes to business, like the base foundations are the same. And that's why with teaching branding, marketing, and everything, you can take—
It's universal.
That's right. That's right. I'm a perfect example of that, is being able to manage these two completely different industries and doing everything. I have a base belief of how important it is to have a strong brand and a strong corporate culture and strong value systems. And that doesn't fluctuate from SMP to Ultra Lift. That's there.
The one thing I got to imagine you have to miss, because anybody who's a business owner, anybody who runs a business knows and goes through those times where all hell breaks loose and it's all shit. And then there's those times when everything seems to just fall into place and it's really smooth. But with two different companies, two different objectives, two different things going, did you ever have both companies just where everything is just perfectly running and everything falls into place? Or is it always something going on with one or the other?
Today, we're talking to Alicia Stephens. We're going to talk about algae. We're going to talk about in-season pool problems. We've gotten bombarded with a lot of stuff. We called Alicia. She dropped everything that she was doing, Zach, to come out here. So we really appreciate that. Mr. Zacharias, what's going on, brother?
A lot. I don't know if you've noticed my complexion has darkened a little bit in the last few weeks. It's been really busy around here, but I feel like every time we transition from cool weather to warm weather, it's a rush of kind of getting things aligned and figuring that out. And so I've been jumping out in the field and trying to help out where I can. The guys have been going crazy. And we've had, I think I talked about it last week, just a tremendous amount of rain this year. And I don't know if you guys saw that tropical storm that was in the Gulf. And fortunately, I think it shifted south a little bit more. And so we caught the tail end of it. But now today they're showing that there's a second tropical system developing down there. So I'm just crossing my fingers and praying that it doesn't bring us in much more rain. But other than that, we're doing good. I'm excited to have Alicia here today. I was joking that I think she was summoned by all of the pool pros and the conversations we've been having lately, but we're going to get into a lot of that today, and I'm excited to do some learning.
We definitely have to get our learning on today. A lot of questions. Alicia.
What's going on?
It's always exciting to have you back.
First of all, if we're not talking netting and jetting, I'm out.
You're out?
I'm out.
That's maybe a splash and a dashing day.
It might be. Second of all, reigning Marco Polo champion. I'm going to issue a challenge. I think I can unseat you, and then I will forever be in your intro. Next time we have an opportunity, I'm going to have to challenge you to Marco Polo.
To Marco Polo? You know what? I think I'm going to accept that challenge.
Okay, we'll see.
I
you might have to change your title. So
I do have to say that what we do need to do is next time I need to be able to, Zach, to zip back and just enjoy the podcast. I think you're ready to just like host this thing the next time that you're out here.
I'm in. Let's do it.
So
you know me, I can talk.
Because I was doing the intro, and right before we went live, I'm like, to see if you were going to just jump in and take it.
We're not talking splashing and dashing, and no, I can do most of it. I can do most of it. So yeah, you just say the word, I'm in.
Oh, you're in.
I can talk to anybody.
The problem is he throws it on you at the very last second, like right before you're going to go.
Somebody asked me once, do you still get nervous? I'm like, nah, I just like to talk a lot.
You're like, not anymore. You're like, yeah, don't phase no more, right?
No, not anymore.
Yeah. So
2 people, 1,000 people, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Hey, I do want to thank you, Alicia, for coming out. I know that we called you at the last minute because we've been getting bombarded with a lot of calls, with a lot of in-season problems. Zach's been getting bombarded with calls as well with regards to issues with the pools and stuff like that. And we love you just because you're Alicia, right? That's the first thing. But the fact that we called you and we're like, hey, here's something that we want to do, for you to just drop everything that you're doing and jump on a plane and come out here and spend some time with us, we really appreciate it.
I'm happy to be here. I saw the big green pool in the sky, and I felt like, yes, I'm coming. Hold on.
She followed the algae all the way out here. John is out today. He got a call at 3 o'clock in the morning about a pool issue, and so he was
it better be dire for somebody to call me at 3 a.m. with a pool issue. And I just can't imagine what's that dire.
It gets there and they're like, oh, the light's not coming on.
Right. It smells funny.
Knowing John, he wasn't asleep yet.
But the challenge with John is, you know how he is, like, he can get that at 3 o'clock in the morning and know that he can't go out till 6 o'clock in the morning. But like in his nature, it's like he wants to solve the issue and be able to check and move it. So he's up. And now he probably went to bed at what, 2:30, Zach, and then got up at 3 with the text, and that's all that you got.
I had a full night's sleep. How long was it? 30 minutes.
Yeah. Anyways, Alicia was out yesterday. We had a great time in studio. We shot some new content, so that was exciting. So we're going to try to put that out next week because typical Alicia fashion, you just crushed it and it was like action and then cut and we're done.
I told you I do like to talk.
Yeah, so.
But it was a good day. It was a good day.
It was a good day.
Looking forward to seeing it.
And we mixed it up. We went to a different studio.
We did, yeah.
So we threw everybody for a little curveball there.
Yeah, when you start posting outtakes, I'm just going to break social media for a few days.
Just going to give you a hint. Pew, 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 pew. I'm posting that one. That one's going up on Monday. On Monday.
The problem when you keep rolling is you just keep rolling.
We were joking around, and Spider, have you heard on social media that girls can't make machine gun noises? Have you guys heard that before?
I did not know that was a thing.
You did not know that. So let me do this. Spider, give me the sound of shooting a machine gun. Do it. Just do it.
I don't know if I can.
Come on, Spider. Zach.
He's looking for a button on
I
his
know.
phone.
You saw it. Zach can't even see me. He knew what I was doing.
His hand was going like this on the screen.
Like, I know I got one somewhere.
So, Zach, do a machine gun from a boy. Like when you were a kid playing, do the sound of a machine gun.
Like,
There you go. Watch. Alicia, machine
I'm not
gun.
falling for it twice.
Machine gun. Come on. Come on. Come on. Show everybody your machine gun. She stepped up her game because yesterday her machine gun was pew, 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 pew.
No,
That
I
was her-
followed it with pew, pew.
That was her machine gun.
Yeah, but it was rolling, so
Yeah. So I have that. We're going to definitely post that.
I had time to practice.
Yeah,
I don't trust you anymore.
Yeah, you thought about it all night. That's why you changed
what's
it up.
your machine gun, Edgar? Come on.
Mine would be more like boy type. But do you see how the hands go? Like when you do it as a kid, you go, and she was pew-pewing me with a machine gun.
I was. You're not wrong. I had 2 machine guns.
So the funny thing is it was so like, I was totally like just joking with her and she just stepped right into it. And then she pulled out, what was that, a bazooka or a shotgun? She just kept pulling out all her guns and kept.
Well, he started the statement with girls can't, and whatever came next, I was going to do. So, like, don't start a statement with girls can't and expect me not to step up to the plate.
What kind of content were you guys filming yesterday?
It was explosive.
It was the bomb. It was some good stuff, Zach, which I'm going to send to you separate so that you could have it because I know that you're going to get that. So anyways, all right. So Alicia, you ready? I know that we're already, we started a little bit late and we're already, but we had an issue where, and it's, I think we've seen it in the industry this summer. And the only thing that I can think of, and Zach and I were talking about this, and we're just trying to figure out why are so many people struggling with algae this year?
I think there's a couple different reasons. One, as Zach said, the weather. You know, anytime that you're dumping in rainwater, then you end up with runoff and you end up with all sorts of stuff that come into the pool. You're just making it harder to keep the pool balanced. Anytime the pool's not balanced, you're more likely to have problems. Algae being probably the most prevalent one that comes from that. So weather certainly has an impact on that. I think another part of it, and this is my opinion, let me be clear about that. This is just my opinion, is that in our society of everything's gotten expensive, inflation and all that sort of stuff, and people are trying to cut corners where they can, I think that pools are one place that a lot of people are trying to cut some corners, and we're cutting out some things that may be limiting the amount of chlorine that we're trying to use, or not putting in a preventative algicide because we can cut that cost out and think we can manage without it. Ultimately, we're trying to save money, and I get it. We're all doing it. At the same time, when you cut some of those corners, you don't leave yourself any room for error. So when error occurs, whether it's 6 inches of rain or you forget to do something or whatever, your pump goes off, then you're a lot more likely to have issues. So to me, it's just a combination of those. Weather is always going to be an impact. But I also think that people's desire to save $1 here and there is probably leading to some of that too.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that, but that's a really great point. If you look at it, and somebody sent me a message the other day, and they sent me an invoice pre-COVID, and case of chlorine was $8 back then, and now you're up to, what, $25, Zach, on a case of chlorine?
Mm-hmm.
And if you have a homeowner that really isn't used to taking care of the pool and stuff like that, right, then, like you said, they're going to cut corners. And during the summertime, they're having to buy 2 cases of chlorine or 3. You're already up to $75 just right there.
And you're looking for a way to use less or make it last longer. And when you pair that with a lot of rain or super hot weather or whatever it is, that's when you start to run into trouble with that.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And this year, Zach, I think one of the things for us, at least in Texas, I don't know how, and I know California has too, but the amount of rain that we have gotten has been excessive.
So
What's that, Zach?
I was going to say, did you see my face just change? Because it literally just started pouring outside. I can hear it in the building.
But I think we're up where I'm at in Dallas. I think we're like either 6 or 8 inches above. It was more than double what we normally get.
And it's hot. You pair that with heat and you end up with green pools a lot.
You got a lot of that water coming in, eating up that chlorine that's in there, and then you have somebody cutting corners. Recipe for disaster.
For sure. And then you end up with green pools, and then it costs you X number of dollars to clean that up, and you didn't end up saving any money in the first place.
Yeah. I mean, Zach, would you be able to put a number, maybe you, Alicia, of a pool turns green? Let's just say that a pool turns green, right? Like, it's not a swamp. It just turns that green. You can see the bottom. On average, Zach, what would you say that you're going to spend in chemicals to be able to flip that?
And chemicals alone?
Chemicals alone.
You're easily over $30-$40.
Oh, it's got to be more than that.
Yeah, and I'm saying easily on a visit. And so that's what's tough is with the price of chemicals. It's if you have one little error and you end up with even the slightest bit of algae or problem, and you have to send someone out there or go out there and you have to put stuff in the pool to do it, you're upside down on that month of service real quick.
You factor into that. That's if the problem's not that bad. But you said yourself, Zach, you're busy. The pool starts to turn green. You may not get to it for a day or two before you can send somebody out. Then it's really green. And so now you're even more product in, more time, more visit, more energy to get it cleaned up. And you're right, you're upside down.
Yeah, because Zach, you look at it, even if you needed to use minimum, let's say that you're trying to just go bare minimum, right? And you use 2 cases of chlorine, that's already $50.
Yeah.
I would dare to say that it's probably a lot more than that, right? Like you're going to have to clean the filter. You're going to have to do it. Somebody's looking at least $200 easy.
We had one go bad. It's a giant pool. And I think there's a little bit of a leak going on, and we've determined that through the process and stuff, but it got pretty bad. And I went out there and it took me days, and I was on the phone with John almost every day, like, dude, what am I doing wrong here? And he's coaching me and guiding me. But when it was all said and done, and I was just doing some rough math, we probably put $400 or $500 worth of chemicals over multiple days. And I'm sitting there going, man, we're going to have to execute on this pool perfectly for the next year to start pulling back out of this deficit that we just created. The tricky thing right now is it's kind of like I'm the person whose fault is it truly? You know what I mean? I don't want to penalize my awesome customer for it, but at the same time, if it were a leak that were pinpointed, should we be charging them, or are we just going to eat it and move on? So it's a tricky situation. And I've been having these conversations with people locally that I know. And it's the same thing, like, oh man, I should charge them for that, but I think I'm just going to take care of it and move on. But with the cost of things, we as business owners have to start taking a real hard look and recouping some of those costs when it's not our fault.
And one thing that I would challenge, especially to service people, is I teach a lot of classes, right? You guys know that I teach some for you, teach them in the industry. And I always ask when I talk about algae at all is how many of you use a preventative algicide? Most people don't, right? And that's just the way of it. Like, no. We just rely on our chlorine to do the work and all that sort of stuff. And then even as we've been talking about cleaning up, it's chlorine. And chlorine is an algicide. Don't get me wrong. It kills most types of algae very effectively. But at the same time, chlorine's number one job in a pool, and I'm going into teacher mode. Chlorine's number one job in a pool is not to kill algae. Chlorine's number one job in a pool is to kill bacteria. That's to sanitize, or that's what it's for. So we want it to be available for that. When we're relying on it to kill algae, we're using more of it because it's got more work to do. And I ask service people all the time, how many times, and Zach, maybe I'll ask you, how many times do your guys go to a pool and they pull a water sample and the chlorine level's 0? It happens all the time, right? Especially as weather gets warmer or you've had that 6 inches of rain or whatever it is. And week after week, you may be doing everything right. You're shocking, you're filling the chlorinator, however you're sanitizing. And every time you come up to that pool, it's 0. You're like, okay, that's all right. I'll just put more in. But any day that pool sits at 0, first of all, you're not killing bacteria, which is not a good thing in a pool, but also you've got no extra help against something like algae. So your chlorine's done. It's used up. You ask too much of it, and now there's none left, and you've got nothing left in there to help prevent algae. So then the pool goes green. Something as simple as a preventative algicide, putting that in, first of all, your chlorine goes in and says, okay, I've got a job to do. What is it? I need to kill bacteria. But if it runs into an algae cell, it's going to kill that first and get used up. Putting in a preventative algicide, you go in, the preventative algicide kills the algae cells. So chlorine, all it has to do is kill bacteria and move on. So it lasts longer. You're less likely to come to a pool where it's at 0 because you didn't ask it to do as much work as possible. And even if it does go to 0, which can happen, especially with 6 inches of rain, you've got that preventative algicide in there to keep doing the algae part of the work. It's not going to kill bacteria, but it'll keep doing the algae part of the work. So it's just, when you talk about price and starting to get a pull back out of that pool, Zach, factoring in the cost of an algicide to what you charge will serve you better than trying to overcome what happens when the pool goes green and you end up eating the cost of getting it cleaned up again. So it's money now or money later, and that's always a tough conversation to have. But just adding that preventative algicide on a weekly basis, it just eases up on some of what you're asking your chlorine to do, and you're more likely to not have issues with it.
Yeah, it makes total sense. I think a lot of people are just like trying, like we don't want to spend extra money. We don't want to do. But look, during the summertime, the last thing that you want to do is turn that corner and have a green pool, right? It happens to the best of them out there, right? There's just different circumstances where last week the pool was beautiful and you turned around and you walk in and it looks like they installed the putting green, right? You're just like, whoa. And it makes total sense. And the analogy is, obviously, you have the soldiers in the field, which is the chlorine doing the job, right? You call in air support, right? And so that air support is going to be that algicide in there constantly providing that support so that you have more in the field to be able to work with.
But don't wait till the soldiers are in trouble to call in the air support.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know? We need them to come in and go pew, pew.
I was expecting Spider to go boom.
He's still looking for the machine gun sound on his board. I'll give him a minute.
She's not lying.
Oh, Spider, they're burning you over there, buddy. Are you clicking the download button and trying to save it onto the board? Anyways, so let's do this. I wanted to talk about really quick. I want to do the podcast today and break down, and maybe you can talk to us. Let's go through like green algae, yellow algae. Let's talk a little bit about mustard. And then maybe at the end, what we could do is tell people what are the products that they can use to manage each one of them. What would you say is this time of the year is going to be the biggest problem of algae? Which one?
It depends on how you classify biggest, quite honestly. The most common algae, which could be the biggest, is green algae by far. Green algae is, I always say, it's the easiest one to get and it's the easiest one to get rid of because it's the way it grows, it's the way it reproduces. The most common type of green algae, which is chlorella, is very easy. I mean, you can go from a clear pool to a green pool overnight with that because it's able to grow and reproduce so fast. If you're talking about what you're most likely to get, green algae would be the biggest problem. If you're talking about what can be the most frustrating and the hardest to get rid of, then yellow or mustard algae is definitely, and I use those words interchangeably, yellow or mustard, but that would be a little harder to get rid of and maybe harder to keep under control. So it really just depends on how you're looking at it.
And so, easiest way to get rid of that green?
So green algae is funny. For the most part, if you wanted to rely on, chlorine works pretty well on most green algae. You get it to a high enough level, then it's very effective. And chlorine just works by, it basically pokes a hole in the algae cell, wiggles its way in, simplifying, honestly. So for all you PhD people out there, don't come after me, I'm simplifying. But you poke a hole in the cell wall, chlorine molecule wiggles its way inside the algae, and it scrambles up the guts and kills it. It's very effective at what it does for the most part. So If you wanted to come out green algae and just put a whole bunch of chlorine in to get rid of it, most of the time that's effective. May not be the fastest way to get rid of it because there's tons of algicides out there that work differently than the way chlorine works that can be faster and easier to accomplish what you're trying to accomplish. We have polyquat algicides and quat-based algicides. Those are 50 and 60% algicides. Everybody's familiar with one version or another of those. They work a little differently than chlorine. So what they do is, I know you like this analogy, but if you picture a knight with a sword, they would basically poke a hole in the algae cell, and then instead of wiggling their way inside and scrambling up the inside of the cell, those quats and polyquats poke a hole and then they step back and let the guts of the cell come out. And as I said, if I poked you in the gut with a sword and your guts were coming out, Edgar, would you die?
Yeah, most likely.
Yeah, most likely. Probably very loud and dramatic and all that stuff, but, but you would die. So quats and polyquats work differently than that, but they tend to be a little slower just because they're not actively wiggling their way inside. They just poke the hole and let nature take its course. A different way, but that's why they're so good at prevention, is because we don't need them to work fast. We just need them to be steady. But then you factor in something like copper, and copper is one of the biggest ingredients we find in a lot of the strong troubleshooting. Besides, copper is a little bit different. Algae actually ingests it. I always say it's like a poison cupcake, right? Who doesn't want a cupcake? And algae ingests that copper molecule, and then it shuts down all the enzymatic processes that keep the algae alive, and it's more like a very fast-acting poison. So there's different ways that you can approach killing algae at different speeds. Most green algae, if you wanted to just, as we were saying, shock the heck out of it, then will that take care of it? Sure, it certainly can, if that's how you choose to do it. Would maybe a copper-based algicide work faster? Probably. And then you have to weigh the cost of 2 cases of chlorine versus what about a treatment dose of an algicide plus a normal shock treatment, and you have to figure out which one works for you. But green algae, like I said, for the most part, is pretty easy to get rid of. Now, we did some research at BioLab. We started this research, it's probably been 3 years ago. When I say we, wasn't me personally. We have these really cool nerdy labs with people in them in white lab coats and safety goggles, and they're a lot smarter than I am, trust me. It's always interesting to walk around our building and see what they're working on. But we did a bunch of algae research. And in the course of doing that research, we have a pool park out behind our corporate office where we have some in-ground pools. They're above-ground in-ground pools. That's a whole different story. And we use pop-up pools and all sorts of stuff. But we grew a whole bunch of algae, and then we classified it, saw what we were growing, and then we figured out the best way to kill it. And for most green algae, like chlorella, which is the most common, even just 0.5 parts per million of chlorine will take care of it. But we did find some other green algae that was a little more difficult to treat. You know, one of our main algicide formulas that we use is copper-based for troubleshooting, and one of those types of algae didn't really respond that well to copper. You could get it eventually if you put enough copper in there. Anybody can die if you give them enough cupcakes, but it didn't respond the way we thought it would. So it's always kind of trying to figure out what the best way is. And my best advice is, if you have a way that you're doing it, maybe you want to use just chlorine, and you do that, and it doesn't respond the way you expect it to, try something else. Don't just do it again, because you've probably got an algae that you can't really tell what it is, but it may not respond as well to chlorine. Or if you're used to using a copper-based algicide and you do that and it doesn't work, don't just go back to the copper-based algicide. Try something different, because there are just different types of algae. And when you're standing by the pool, all you can see is it's green. You know, I could say it's one of 10 different classifications and they all have different characteristics, but all you can tell, because you don't carry a nerdy microscope around, right? But I am a big nerd. I probably have carried a microscope around before, but you can't tell that. All you can tell is it's green, and you can only react to the color because that's what you're able to use. So green algae is, as a rule, pretty easy to get rid of. But sometimes you run into that one. And Zach, you've probably seen it. You do a lot of real world pool troubleshooting. You've seen that pool where you expect something to happen and you do the prescription you always do, and you're like, nothing happened. Why didn't that work? In reality, what we think is in there, which to us, all green algae is the same, it really isn't. There's a lot of different kinds of green algae, and they do respond differently. We'll talk products in a little while. I'll talk about how we got around that problem and how we approached it, because ultimately it's not realistic for us to really try and figure out what it is. We need things that will kill everything regardless of what it is. So
I want to ask, can you talk about some of the
Pool pros have specific needs when it comes to general liability insurance. The SPPA program has you covered. With 3 tailored and customizable general liability options, SPPA makes it easy for pool pros to feel secure. Find out more and get covered at thesppa.com. U.S. Motors Neptune Variable Speed Motor provides a versatile replacement solution for all your pool pump motor needs. This motor can communicate with pool control systems, provide low voltage options to work with time clocks, and can be installed as a standalone pump motor. The Neptune motor can be easily installed on existing pumps, upgrading them to a variable speed pump without the need for replumbing. Enjoy energy savings and quiet operation by installing a Neptune Variable Speed Motor today. For more information and to find your local distributor, visit usmotors.com/pool. Blu-ray XL is the power of minerals working for you. Reduce your overall chemical costs and labor up to 50% guaranteed. Whether you have 20 accounts or 20,000, Blu-ray XL's direct pricing and free shipping to the pool trade have you covered. Improving pool professionals' profit and work-life balance is what they do. Blu-ray XL, the real mineral purifier. Visit them at BluRayXL.com.
Blu-ray all day.
Meet the pipeline pump from Aquastar Pool Products, the next generation of variable speed pumps designed for serious efficiency. At its core is a high-performance permanent magnet motor that's totally enclosed and fan-cooled, delivering consistent energy-saving operation. Paired with Aquastar's patented high-efficiency volute design, the pipeline pump maintains optimal flow while cutting down on energy use. And it's not just efficient, it's incredibly quiet. Thanks to a high-tech rubber motor mount that absorbs vibrations and dampens sound, the pipeline runs smooth and quiet by limiting turbulence. Its 2.5-inch internal frame ensures unrestricted water flow, and it's available in both 1.5 HP and 3.0 HP models, each with 2-inch and 2.5-inch union fittings for flexible and efficient installation. Experience the pipeline difference: incredibly quiet operation, peak efficiency, and proven performance. Ask your supplier for the pipeline pump from Aquastar. Available now. Care Solutions, for over 30 years, is proud to provide products that make pool service easier than ever before. Its unique enzyme formulations in Pro Series Pro Blend improve efficiency of your pool program while reducing frequency of filter cleaning and scum lines. Natural Chemistry is also well known for its wide variety of phosphate removal solutions that include a non-clouding formula in Phos-Free and extremely high-range removal with Pro Series Phos Remove or Phos-Free Max. Save time, save money, save work with Pro Series products. Stop sacrificing durability or efficiency with the help of Raypak's new Avia HD models that utilize NITEC, their exclusive industry-first technology. NITEC heat exchanger technology is Raypak's latest solution to superior strength and maximum efficiency when it comes to residential pool heating. With 900% more nickel compared to copper nickel in critical surfaces, NITEC creates an ideal surface to protect against scale formation and erosion without compromising on Avia's 84% thermal efficiency. Learn more at raypak.com/NITEC. The next evolution in lighting is here. Universal Color Logic 2.0 from Hayward. The latest in pool and spa lighting was designed with you in mind, making installation a breeze. Upgrades include a detachable cord and first-of-a-kind adjustable lower catch to overcome variations in plaster thickness. As always, Universal Color Logic lights retrofit into virtually any in-ground pool or spa while delivering industry-leading, vibrant color. Visit Hayward.com to discover more.
Today, we're talking to Josh Sherwood from Sherwood's Outdoors. We talk about his journey into the pool industry and his backyard and pool giveaway. Yes, you heard me right. He is giving away an entire backyard, including the pool, to one deserving winner. John, good morning.
Good morning. So, a couple things. I don't know if you're noticing my phone I got a little notification and I get the dreaded wind warning on my phone right now. So I don't know if you noticed, but I started twitching a little bit and my mood changed about 3 minutes ago before we went live. When I'm like, how's everything going? I'm like, yeah, everything's good. Let's get it. I got a bunch of shit we got to do today. And then all of a sudden I get that wind warning and well, anyway.
Josh, John and I do what we typically do, and all of a sudden we have a guest and we just kind of continue on here. And we've been chit-chatting for like 6 minutes. So good morning. How you doing?
Doing good, man. It's a beautiful day in Arizona today. This morning's about 60 degrees. It's hard to beat Arizona, I'm not going to lie. And no wind. Not a damn
Dude, I was already looking at homes out there.
Shots fired.
I'm telling you, no, good for you. But you do get those haboobs or whatever once in a while out there, right? And those are pretty gnarly.
Oh, boy. Yeah, what, 3-4 times a year? Come on.
For sure.
That's awesome. You know what? No pun intended. He threw a little sand in your face, John, there with that one. So.
Oh, yeah. Shots fired.
All right, guys. Listen, if you have any questions, what we want you to do is go to poolnation.com. There's a big button up there that says submit questions. You can click on there, submit your questions. We will answer all those. If we don't have the answers to them, we'll find the people to answer those questions for you. And we do have, John, a couple videos that you and I are going to have to shoot because we've got a whole bunch of questions that were sent in and we haven't had a time to do a separate podcast to answer all those. So guys, keep paying attention. We're going to do some of those. We'll post them on social media and share those so that you get your answers. Josh, it's time. Let's get ready and talk about this bad boy because we've been going here for a little while. Want to talk about this entire backyard giveaway that you're doing, which I think is completely badass. So for everybody listening to this podcast, we are going to talk about that giveaway. I want to get a little bit of Josh's story and his background into the pool industry, but stick around because we're going to talk about how you can nominate somebody. He's going to talk about the rules, all that kind of stuff. Before we do that, I want to mention the email address a couple times throughout the podcast. So Josh, what's the email address for people to submit nominations?
It's sherwoodfreepool@gmail.com.
We're going to mention that quite a couple times on here. So, Josh, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background?
Okay. Now, I didn't even ask you this, right? But we're good. Do you want me to talk some of the same stuff I talked about during the live? Touch on a different audience.
It's a little weird when Edgar does it this way, but yeah, it feels like, oh my God, didn't we just have this conversation?
Here's what happens, guys, is not everybody that watches the Instagram lives listen to the podcast. So what we like to do is we like to get that story and reshare it on the different platforms so that people can kind of listen to the story. So I know some of the questions is going to feel like I'm repeating them, but for those that don't listen to our Instagram live, we want to give them the full story.
Okay. I would say got married pretty young. I started my job when I got married, if you call it a job, was I did rodeo, which is like team roping. So we had horses, cows, we'd practice twice a day. And then every weekend we were gone on the road to a rodeo or to a roping. I love that. I did that my whole life up to about 21, 22 years of age. Got married, my wife started going with me, and it wasn't exactly a fun thing for her. And also, it's not very lucrative. I'm not going to lie. There are guys out there that can earn a good living doing that. But what I realized really quickly was I wasn't one of those guys that was going to be able to do that. So I just quit cold turkey, just stopped doing it completely, got rid of all my cattle, my horses, my trailers, everything. And at the time, my dad owned a sod farm out it used to be out in the middle of nowhere. Now with all the growth, it's not that far away, and so he has a sod farm and he would subcontract the install part of that business out to other people. And so I was like, hey, installing sod, it's pretty easy to do. It's difficult labor wise, but you don't need to be a rocket scientist to install sod. But it's tough work, especially in the summer. It's tough work. So I started to do that. I went to my wife and I said, honey, I think I'm going to start installing sod. And we had no money at the time, like you do when you're first married, you're broke. So I went to Home Depot. I got everything I would need to install sod. And we didn't have enough money, so we had to put it on a credit card. And so I bought one wheelbarrow, a couple rakes. There's a roller that you use after you install sod. You have to roll the sod out. And I think it totaled like $190. My wife looks at me and just like, I sure as hell hope you know what you're doing. We thought it was so much money back then. And so we put it on a credit card. And so I started laying sod and that went fine. The economy was starting to get good. This was about 02, 03. And so as it got busier, I went from me and like 3 guys and I bought another truck and then got another crew going. So then it went from me and a few guys to then another guy and some guys. So then I had 2 crews rolling at that time. And we started getting some exposure just being in people's yards, right? Neighbors would say, what's going on? And they would look and say, hey, I need some sod, or hey, can you also help me with some sprinklers? Or can you plant a couple bushes or a tree and run some drip line? And basically I just said yes every time. even though most of the time I didn't know how to do it or what to do. The funny story, and I know I shared this already, but it's a good one, so I'm going to share it again. Anytime you start a landscape project on a new house, there's a valve called your anti-siphon valve or backflow valve, same valve that's used on the autofill of a pool. So you have to solder that valve onto the house. And I had no clue how to solder, and no one that worked for me at the time didn't know how. So I was at Home Depot buying some materials one day, and I saw a sign that said, hey, free class on soldering. And I was like, oh yeah, I got this. And it was like Saturday morning. I went down on a Saturday, and it was like 8 a.m., no big deal. And there was like 3 other people, me and like 3 other people. And there's this dude from Home Depot, a retired plumber, with his little apron on, Home Depot apron. And he had a little corner set up at Home Depot, and he was showing us how to do it. And after he gave us test runs, I was like, I think I got this. And so he allowed all of us to do a test trial. And I think my second time I got it. And at least I felt like I got it. I was like, really? That's pretty easy. Like, I don't see what the big deal is to this. And I had a job already sold. And so I went out to this job on Monday, and I had the valve, and I'm like, I'm going to solder this valve on. Well, as you know, on a new home that has that main water line, it's really difficult to get all the moisture, all the water out of the line. And, the Home Depot guy said, the best thing to use is bread. So I'm stuffing bread in this pipe, trying to get it to dry out. And I'm pretty sure the whole time I forgot to turn the meter off at the street. So water just kept coming, and I'm stuffing bread. Finally, I realized, the meter's still on. So I turned the water meter off, so it completely shut the water line down. And I got this valve soldered on. And I was like, I felt pretty good about it. I'm not gonna lie. I felt pretty good about it. So I turned the meter back on, and I was waiting for it, just watching it, waiting for it to blow off. Because I turned the meter on slowly at a time. I didn't want to hit it with all that pressure. So I turned it on, it held. And I was like, oh man, this is so easy. I mean, I felt like a genius. I was like, this is
I got this.
a 2-hour class, and I'm an expert. So I went home that night. I get a phone call from the homeowner, like in the middle of the night. Literally, that thing had blown off around 11 at night. No one knew about it. So it ran like 3 or 4 or 5 hours straight, full pressure, a meter, like a 2-inch meter. And it was in a tract home neighborhood where the houses were really close together. And it literally flooded 2 houses on both sides of this house, including the house we were working on. And it was a nightmare. And that was like my first sold job.
I'm never doing this again.
And I went home. I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm never doing this again. Instead of quitting landscaping totally, I made a few phone calls, and I hired someone right then that knew how to solder. Right then, hired him on the spot, said, you're hired. And that was my first funny story. And the lesson in that is I learned very quickly what I was good at, and I learned very quickly what I wasn't good at. And so the rest of these last 20 years, if I didn't know what I was doing, I usually could hire someone that did, or research it, or subcontract it, or whatever I needed to do to make sure it was done right. Because I didn't want to have that experience again. And obviously I'm a pretty good talker with people. So I made them feel good when I sold the job that I knew what I was doing. And I obviously didn't, but took that one on the chin there. But we kept going, kept moving forward.
That one would have knocked out a whole bunch of people, John. They would have been just like, I'm out of the business completely.
Well, it would scare the shit out of them. And not only that, but see, usually the problem is when something like that happens to somebody, especially when they're new into something, it sets them back for the rest of their career because they always worry about it, right? Or they're always second guess themselves, and they always put themselves in the situation where like, oh my God, I'm going to take the easy, safe route. And it's a different breed of being to be able to take that hit on the chin and say, this isn't going to stop.
Today, we're doing a special episode, and we're answering some specific questions that were sent in with regards to HR. John, good evening.
Good evening. I got to get used to the evening thing instead of the good morning thing. But evening, everybody. This is John from Texas, right? Out in Prosper, Texas. We're out here doing our little thing with the house, and we figured, hey, we might as well knock out some content. So we're upstairs right now in our little podcast room, taking advantage of having Leanne here to answer some of these HR questions that are, in reality, is pretty scary for most. And it's something that a lot of people have trouble with. And to have somebody with her expertise answering some of these questions is a godsend for us lonely pool guys out there. So hopefully we get to knock out some of these questions that have been worrying you. And if anybody else has any more questions when it comes down to HR, don't be shy and get online and click on that button and ask away because we got the best.
Leanne, good evening. How are you?
Good evening. I'm good. Thank you again for having me on. And John, welcome to Texas. We love having you here, and we can't wait until it's for real, for good. No more visiting. You're just going to be a Texan.
You'll be here all the time.
Yep.
I think what's going to happen, Leanne, is at that point, he's probably going to get sick of our friendship and probably be like, I don't think I can do this full time.
Maybe the other way around. Not easy to like. So.
I'm not sure. I think there's going to be a lot of late nights where it's like 10 o'clock and I'm calling you and you're going, this is not happening, dude. Leave me alone.
Calling you. I think you guys keep closing down restaurants and...
No, I can see him. He's going to be knocking on the door. I'm like, oh, Edgar, come on, let's shoot some content. Let's get him going.
He'll be like, turn off the lights, Zach. We're not home.
Right? Let's shoot some content. Come on.
Hide.
Quick, hide. It's Edgar, I can tell.
Right?
I have him on Life 360 now. I know when he's coming over to our
Right?
house.
Everybody goes there. Everybody has...
We'll all be tracking each other.
That's funny.
He's in the neighborhood. Turn off the lights.
Kids, quiet. Or you'll have one of the kids come out. No, they're not home. They left. They're out to dinner somewhere. Well, tell me where. I'll go find them.
That's a preview into what you can expect. You better, I hope you're listening.
All right. So we were talking, remember, I was saying, hey, look, we were originally going to be around Prosper, and then we're going to go to Aubrey. And I said, hey, maybe we can be about 30 minutes away, right? And so now you're telling me we should be about 2 hours away.
Now it's starting to make sense, Leanne,
Right?
why he wants that 45 minutes.
That's exactly it.
He did ask us, how far is normally something that you would do on a daily basis? Since we said, like 30-minute drive. And that's why he was saying, can I get 45? That way I know that Edgar's out of that zone.
Exactly. You got me.
It's all starting to come a lot more clear.
Absolutely. So everybody listening, John is out in Texas with Janie. They're ready to close on that house. We're super excited about it. And at least myself and Leanne are dying to welcome you as Texans over to this great state.
Yeah, it was crazy. We were out shopping today, and Janie actually almost bought cowboy boots. And I told her, I go, look, you're not allowed to have boots until we live here.
You're in deep trouble because so far, every pair that she has put on, she looks amazing in those boots.
Yeah, she does.
She's meant for boots.
For sure.
And they're not cheap. So just get ready.
I know.
Because she's going to put them on. You're going to be like, yep, those look good too. You need to have those. Those look good. You need to have those too.
Yeah.
It's going to be easy. She's going to get boots easy. No problem.
It's going to be fun times.
I have a feeling she's going to be spending a lot of money. Anyways, Leanne, let's jump into this podcast because we had somebody that reached out to us and sent us the following, and we're going to break this down and have you go through. So first I want to read what was sent in, and it was, you have covered many facets of hiring people in the podcast, but there is an issue that never gets talked about, the legal parts. I know it's different depending on state, but where can I find HR help to come through and help with the legal parts of hiring somebody? I know there are rules about workers' comp. Do I need a copy of their Social Security? How can I check their driving record, and does it affect my insurance? What about insurance, vehicle, employee? I think you get where I'm going with this. Thanks for the awesome podcast. Us lonely pool pros out there, we are limited in what we can do for education since we work 7 to 4. A podcast, many podcasts, bridges that gap. I can listen to you guys give advice on all things pool or business related while mindlessly cleaning the pool. It's like a free golden nuggets. Keep them coming, guys. Thank you. So what I wanted to do on this special episode is I really wanted to dissect everything that they sent in for us in order to be able to answer that. So Leanne, I'm going to break this down and maybe have you start covering a couple of the parts. So I want to go back, and he says, you have covered many facets of hiring people on the podcast, but there's one issue that never gets talked about, the legal parts. I know depending on the state, but where can I find HR to help me through the legal parts of hiring? So let's start with that part.
Okay, so again, depending on your state, but for example, if you were in California, which California is one of the more difficult states to manage from a people management perspective, California Chamber of Commerce has an amazing resource. It's called the California Labor Law Digest. You can get it in a big fat book form if you want, or they can send us on a CD or by link. And what's great is this is a full digest of state and federal laws. It really speaks in a manner that everybody can understand. It's not a bunch of legal speak, it's regular language. And it really breaks down state and federal guidelines, requirements, suggestions. They even have sections in there with forms and templates and things like that you can use. So when you're looking for one solid resource, usually your local Chamber of Commerce is a fantastic place to start.
Talked about it at the very beginning, the good mornings, about HR, and it's a scary subject, right? And it's easy to get overwhelmed. It's hard enough understanding the job that we're trying to do, especially if you're just in industry or kind of getting in there and trying to figure out, hey, look, how do I be a pool professional? How do I be a pool tech? And I got to learn all these things to do a job. And now on top of that, I have to understand HR. And it's not something, there's no gray lines really with HR. It's black and white. And if you make the wrong move or make the wrong decision, there can be repercussions and things that can come back to you because you're dealing with people and you're dealing with people's lives and livelihoods. And if you're not careful, then bad things can happen, right? Not necessarily that it will, and I'm not trying to scare anybody, but the truth is, and again, going back to this question, I think how cool it is that our listeners are jumping in here and asking these types of things because it's hard. And if you go and you ask anybody else, you're usually going to get some pretty interesting answers, or you might not be getting the exact truth, or if they don't fully understand the law, or maybe when they did understand the law, it was 4 years ago, right? And they learned it, and then things change constantly. So what Leanne's saying about getting on there and getting that digest, that is probably the best thing you can do because there's so much information in there that'll be at your disposal that you can always go back and reference. One thing I want to add on to this, at least for us, if as a small business owner, sometimes this HR thing is overwhelming, there's also resources out there where you can subcontract or hire HR companies. And we've seen places where as little as like $100 or $200 a month where you can hire somebody that'll be a dedicated HR manager that'll help you with your hiring forms, interviewing, hiring and terminating employees, and help give you that legal or that at least some form of protection to make sure that you're making the right decision. I know in my previous life, we had a company called Assuron that we referred to. So anytime in California too, you're personally liable when you make a decision, and if I hire or if I fire somebody or whatever it may be. So when it comes down to, we had the ultimate decision of, let's say, hey, we needed to fire somebody. We sent it up to our third-party company, and then we presented the facts or the information, and then they would take it and come back to us and say, legally, this is what our opinion is, and this is what we recommend that you do. And we can choose to go with that opinion, and if we did, then we'd be protected through them. But if we chose not to, right, and go against it, then we're out on our own. So there's always resources out there, and especially with this day and age when it comes down to technology and people working remotely and doing things like that. So that's always an option too. So if you don't have the time or you still don't have the understanding of that HR book, or then it might be worth spending that extra money so that you can hire a professional to help guide you through this very scary subject.
Yeah, and one thing that I always tell people, you hear people oftentimes say, they can sue me. What if I do that and they sue me? They can sue me, and they can. Anybody can sue you for anything. The big thing is, what can you defend, right? And so all of the employment decisions that you make, as long as they're well-intended, and you're doing things in a manner that you can defend them, you don't have to worry about if somebody's going to sue you, because you can't stop somebody from suing you. And that's one of those biggest misconceptions I try to get people over. It's, don't be terrified that someone's going to sue you. Just be confident that you can defend it.
Great point.
So just follow the guidelines appropriately so that you can properly defend it, because you'll never stop anyone from suing you.
For sure, especially in California.
Especially in California.
The People's Republic of California, as we like to call it.
Yeah, and that digest that Leanne is talking about, obviously I've used it because Leanne has made me use it and stuff like that, but it's something that's great.
Pool pros have specific needs when it comes to general liability insurance. The SPPA program has you covered. With 3 tailored and customizable general liability options, SPPA makes it easy for pool pros to feel secure. Find out more and get covered at thesppa.com. U.S. Motors Neptune Variable Speed Motor provides a versatile replacement solution for all your pool pump motor needs. This motor can communicate with pool control systems, provide low voltage options to work with time clocks, and can be installed as a standalone pump motor. The Neptune motor can be easily installed on existing pumps, upgrading them to a variable speed pump without the need for replumbing. Enjoy energy savings and quiet operation by installing a Neptune Variable Speed Motor today. For more information and to find your local distributor, visit usmotors.com/pool. Blu-ray XL is the power of minerals working for you. Reduce your overall chemical costs and labor up to 50% guaranteed. Whether you have 20 accounts or 20,000, Blu-ray XL's direct pricing and free shipping to the pool trade have you covered. Improving pool professionals' profit and work-life balance is what they do. Blu-ray XL, the real mineral purifier. Visit them at BluRayXL.com.
Blu-ray all day.
Meet the Pipeline Pump from Aquastar Pool Products, the next generation of variable speed pumps designed for serious efficiency. At its core is a high-performance permanent magnet motor that's totally enclosed and fan-cooled, delivering consistent energy-saving operation. Paired with Aquastar's patented high-efficiency volute design, the Pipeline Pump maintains optimal flow while cutting down on energy use. And it's not just efficient, it's incredibly quiet. Thanks to a high-tech rubber motor mount that absorbs vibrations and dampens sound, the pipeline runs smooth and quiet by limiting turbulence. Its 2.5-inch internal frame ensures unrestricted water flow, and it's available in both 1.5 HP and 3.0 HP models, each with 2-inch and 2.5-inch union fittings for flexible and efficient installation. Experience the pipeline difference: incredibly quiet operation, peak efficiency, and proven performance. Ask your supplier for the Pipeline Pump from Aquastar. Available now. Care Solutions, for over 30 years, is proud to provide products that make pool service easier than ever before. Its unique enzyme formulations in Pro Series Pro Blend improve efficiency of your pool program while reducing frequency of filter cleaning and scum lines. Natural Chemistry is also well known for its wide variety of phosphate removal solutions that include a non-clouding formula in Phos-Free and extremely high-range removal with Pro Series Phos Remove or Phos-Free Max. Save time, save money, save work with Pro Series products. Stop sacrificing durability or efficiency with the help of Raypak's new Avia HD models that utilize NITEC, their exclusive industry-first technology. NITEC heat exchanger technology is Raypak's latest solution to superior strength and maximum efficiency when it comes to residential pool heating. With 900% more nickel compared to copper nickel in critical surfaces, NITEC creates an ideal surface to protect against scale formation and erosion without compromising on Avia's 84% thermal efficiency. Learn more at raypak.com/NITEC. The next evolution in lighting is here. Universal Color Logic 2.0 from Hayward. The latest in pool and spa lighting was designed with you in mind, making installation a breeze. Upgrades include a detachable cord and first-of-a-kind adjustable lower catch to overcome variations in plaster thickness. As always, Universal Color Logic lights retrofit into virtually any in-ground pool or spa while delivering industry-leading, vibrant color. Visit Hayward.com to discover more.
Today, we're talking to Megan Kendrick, the owner of the Pool Pro magazine. We're talking about our story. We're talking about trends. We're talking about the 30 under 40 and lots more. We got a lot of questions for her. Mr. Zacharias, good to see you in town, buddy. How you doing?
Well, my heart rate's going about 200 miles an hour after that. I feel like I need to go take a walk around the floor out.
Did you catch it, John?
Did you tell him to do the intro?
Yeah, I just kind of went, go. And he's like, not going to happen.
Maybe in a couple of years. No, everything's going good. It's been a whirlwind the last couple of weeks. I'm sure everyone out there is feeling the same thing. We had a slow start in Houston weather-wise, and then the last couple of weeks, the temps have just shot up. The water temps have gone up, and we've had a ton of rain. I know you guys have been getting it here, but we have just been hammered with rain. So it's been all hands on deck. I worked all 3 days last week, and in the field, might I add. I got a little bit of a tan line going on here. So other than that, everything's going pretty good.
Mr. Flawless, great to have you in town, buddy.
Yeah, it's good to be back. Jeannie and I were just talking on the way here that it's been a couple months since we've been into Texas, so glad to be back. I am, as usual, tired as hell. I don't know what the hell's going on with me, but I'm tired, but I had an amazing time yesterday. It was actually really fun. Not really my thing, doing photo shoots, but it was interesting. And I think everybody just had a great time setting up. And I'm not a very creative person. I don't think I am. I'm a great problem solver, I think. But as far as creativity, what was put up yesterday and what you guys did and how you did it and watching it come to life, at first, it's like, really? I don't see how this is going to look cool. But once you saw the final product and you saw your vision come to life, it was inspiring. I don't know. It helps you think outside the box a little bit, right? So that was fun to be a part of. Lying on the floor was interesting. I was happy to do so. But at the end of the day, we had a great time and the time just flew by, right? We got there at 12 and it was like 5 o'clock when we left, or 4:30ish or whatever when we left. And that time just literally flew by and it was a really good time. So thanks for having us and for doing that. We look forward to seeing the final product.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty cool. And those of you listening, trust me, I'm sure it was going to be a pretty interesting cover or article or whatever,
It'll spark interest.
It will,
and
it will definitely be the talk of the town for a while, I'm sure. And I won't ever hear the end of it if any of those photos of us get leaked or get put in there. It's going to be interesting, but I had a great time. So I just want to thank you, Megan. That was awesome.
Good. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And I'm glad, I feel like the couple of times we've done this with you guys, we've definitely taken you out of your comfort zone.
Yes.
But it's really fun because we don't get the opportunity to do those kinds of shoots very often. And so it's really fun to stretch our creativity and see what we can come up with. And so I was pretty nervous about this one. Like, I had a vision for how I wanted it to look, and I did not know if we could accomplish it. But seeing the drafts, I'm feeling pretty excited about it. It was really fun.
It definitely was fun.
Yeah.
So how you doing, Megan? We're excited to have you here.
Yeah, thank you. I know. I feel like people are probably tired of seeing me on here. But thanks for having me. It's always fun to come down here.
We're excited to have you. And yeah, yesterday was really awesome. And it was funny to see. You could tell that out of the three of us, John was the most uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm trying.
It's just not my thing.
I'm seeing a trend, Zach. I'd just be like, I don't care. Let's do it. And Zach is always like a little bit hesitant, but Zach is always second to go. Like, he's building up his courage to just like, forget it, let's do it. And he did it. But then watching John in the back of the room, I'm not doing that. Like, I'm not, And then he got in, and he was a little uncomfortable. And then once he got into it, he really got into it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if I got into it. But
You totally got
I don't know if I got into
Janie,
it.
did he get into it or what?
He did a lot better than I thought he was going to do.
Look, at the end of the day, I know what I need to do, right? So I'm going to do what I need to do because I know I'm doing it for the right reason and what we're trying to accomplish here. But again,
He's a good sport.
For sure. You guys are all good sports. And it helps too, like, once you kind of see a couple of them and see like how they look on the screen, you're like,
oh, you nailed it.
Because it's really hard to tell if you're not getting that above angle with the drone. It's really hard to see like the vision. And so, you got to look and then it's like, oh, I get it. This is fine.
It's so cool.
I do have to give you props, Megan, because every time you have just come up with something new. And when you came and said, hey, Edgar, this is what I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, that's really cool. That's like completely out of the box of anything that you see. So the creativity and the vision of it is awesome.
Yeah.
Because I'm not like that. I'm not a very visual person. Like, I can come up with a concept and tell you this is what I'm thinking, but somebody has to come in and like paint it and make it all pretty. I don't have that ability. And
well, and I can come up with a great idea, but I need my team to actually execute it. I was like, I want to do this. And I showed it to our art director, and I think she was like, oh no. But she got to come out too, which was really great. And we couldn't have done it without having her there to actually put things where they needed to go and do all of that part of it and coordinate with the photographer and all of those things. So without her help, it would not have happened. And she's such a good sport because I do this to her fairly regularly. We'll be a week before we go to press and I'll look at the cover and I'm like, I don't know about this.
You're my worst nightmare.
No, I am. But she's great at working in that kind of high pressure environment. That's why she's great at her job. So she handles it like a pro.
And let's give her a shout out because she's just been absolutely amazing. So Brittany, absolutely. Thank you for coming out. It was fun to be able to come out and be part of it and get to play with her, right? But I thought she was going to stay for today. I was excited. And then she's like, oh, I'm headed back. And I'm like, you know me, I like the party afterwards. That's what what drives me out of all this stuff is the after party stuff that we do.
Yeah. An issue to put together. So she doesn't have time to like hang out. She's got to go work, guys.
Hey, big shout out to Michael, first response here. By the way, he's saying John is a natural model. We know that you're the model of the three.
I got to give some love out to Megan for not allowing some of the original photos to get leaked.
We did.
'Cause that would have been disastrous. So we have a bond, right? There's some trust between us, right?
Yep. I will not make you look like a fool.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
As long as you're nice.
yeah, exactly. So that's
As long
why
as you're nice.
she's smart.
Yeah.
She gets it, right?
got the
That's
ammo.
why she has me on lockdown. She knows because she holds the keys, right?
Now, was that yesterday? Because I haven't seen those.
No, remember the original one?
Like with
The
like when we
jumping.
did.
Remember the original cover and some of those?
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because at the time you guys kept talking about a skincare line. And so it was like, well, it'd be kind of fun to do like a beauty shoot. And those pictures are actually pretty fantastic. But John was not a fan. And so I'm not going to make him
Just
do that.
like, she's got to have love for you because she hasn't even shared those with me.
So those
Because she knows you'll post them.
Yeah, of course. You know I will.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, John gets to say what happens with those. He did them. I feel like that was.
Megan, she's smart. She gets Pool Nation wrapped around her finger now because of those pictures.
She's got it.
If you wonder why we keep working with each other, that's
Right,
that's why.
exactly.
It's all blackmail.
She's got it all figured out.
Thanks for listening to the Pool Nation podcast, a member of the Pool Nation family. You can listen to us live every Friday here at 9 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Central, and 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. You can find us at Pool Nation or poolnationpodcast.com, on Facebook, or on Instagram at pool.nation. And to find more info about Pool Invoice, the billing software built specifically for the pool industry, go to poolinvoice.com. Before you go, this is what the pool industry has been waiting for. PoolmanUniversity.com. It's the first platform dedicated to learning the swimming pool service and repair industry. A pool service community where you can connect and find videos on business, service, water chemistry, and repairs. See you there at PoolmanUniversity.com.